Welcome to the latest episode and the first of 2023 for KapVista Klips. Today we have the team from Ziinkle, Mel and Elisse. How are you?
I'm good, thanks, Dan. How are you doing?
Good. I'm excited to hear about Ziinkle and what you're up to and you know the story behind it and what's happened over the last 12 months and what's happening for 2023. So, you know, tell me who you are and your why.
Sure. So I'm Melanie, and I'm one of the founders of Ziinkle.
And I'm Elisse Alexander, and I'm the other founder of Ziinkle.
So Ziinkle is effectively a dating GPS, and we really help singles be in the right place at the right time, so they know what venues to go out to, so that they can meet people in real life. And we effectively connect people with people and people with venues. So Ziinkle was really just born out of pure frustration. So I came out of a long-term relationship. It was the start of 2019. I didn't really know how to get back into dating, like where to go out to meet people. I was very much just thrust back into it. And I had real no choice but to download some of the dating apps that I'm sure people have heard of. But the more that I used them, really, the more frustrated I became because I just found it so difficult to make a connection. And all of these swipe-based dating apps were just digital profiles and some bio copy. And so I just didn't feel like I was getting really any depth, and I just wasn't having a great experience. And for me, I just wanted to meet someone in real life, but I just had no idea where to go out to even meet other single people.
And I was Mel's wing woman at this time. So I had been married for 10 years. So dating apps were completely foreign to me. So when she was on them, I was like, oh, this is fun. Like, let's swipe through. Let's see what all this fuss is about. But when I actually sat and thought about, well, how is Mel supposed to meet someone through these apps? It just boggled my mind, because I could understand if the photo I was looking at of this person, do they look like their first photo or do they look like their third photo? How tall are they? What do they sound like? What are their mannerisms? You cannot create a connection. And I kept telling Mel this, you can't create a connection with a 2D photo. I'm going to take you out and we're going to meet somebody in real life. Easier said than done, because, you know, I've been married for 10 years and I don't know where the places to be are anymore. And Mel had obviously been in a relationship. So we'd spend our weeks researching, trying to find what the best hotspots were for people in our age group. And we'd find something, get dressed up, we'd get out there. And either the crowds would be too old, too young, or non-existent. And with our background in business marketing, non-existent crowds for a hospitality venue are concerning because of everything we've been through with COVID, obviously with lockout laws. We couldn't understand, you know, what was happening here, and we wanted to help these businesses. So anyway, we're at these venues and we jump on Instagram story to try and find in real time where people in our age group were. And you know, we'd find something, we'd get in a taxi, go across town, and you know, get to venues, and the same things would kind of happen. You know, the lockout laws, we had to make a decision very quickly. So this was our lives for months and months and months, and it was increasingly frustrating. So one day we were walking around and we had a thought: what if there was an app that would actually tell you where to go based on the people you wanted to be around? And an app that was more than just matching and you're done. An app that actually helped you form an organic connection, nurture that connection, and drive you into businesses, so that you could create community and businesses could get tangible value from our users. And that's essentially how Ziinkle was born.
Oh, awesome. So it's solving a real life problem that a lot of people are facing, and the disconnect between the online persona and what you are in real life is real. And there's a lot of stories where people just don't know where to go to meet someone, and they're finding, you know, common challenges, and the rise of dating apps have created a whole new challenge where, you know, people online are not who they are in real life. So you know, this is a great problem you're trying to solve. But the other one that no dating app is really doing is that B2B side, you know, the venues. there's a massive opportunity there, because venues are struggling to get people in the door. They're looking for creative ways to get more business, and this is another one that can help them.
Absolutely. Like, we know that, as Elisse touched on, just from our observational experience and our background in business marketing, that there are so many businesses and venues that just don't have support and resources to attract and reattract and retain customers. And being able to, you know, have an option where you can attract people into your business and venues in real time really helps that two sides of the marketplace, where you've got a lot of singles who, to your point, and they don't have tools and information to know, like, where do I go out? How am I supposed to be in the right place at the right time? And on the other side of that, you've got businesses and venues who are looking to attract those people in there. And so for us, it just seemed like a very natural fit to be able to solve those problems for both sides of that market.
And we recently just did a survey of over 1,000 people, and we asked what you look for, what's most important to you when you're looking for a romantic partner. And for both men and women across all age groups, the number one trait that they look for is chemistry and connection. And you cannot do that on an online dating app.
Yeah. Okay. So you saw there's a problem. You decided you're going to fix it. What does day one look like? How did you start? What's the process behind it? And then how did you get to this point? What does that look like? So it's 2019 to 2023. What did that look like?
So yeah, we lived the problem for a good part of 2019, you know, on Instagram stories, getting taxis across town. And as Elisse mentioned, just got to the point where, like, right, let's just build the thing that we wish we had. So both of us had backgrounds in building apps and app features and taking them to market and working with technology and digital innovation teams. So for us, we knew what we needed to do. And we pretty much just started actually here in my apartment, sketching down some of the UX and the wireframing and thinking about, like, how the user experience would work, you know, based on our experiences, but just feedback and conversations that we'd had with people out and about as well. And we spent a lot of 2020 really building the prototype and the prototype and getting some validation around that.
So we tested that with focus groups. We did a survey of 700 people to validate everything. So every step of the way, we had that validation. We were questioning what does the market want? What are they telling us? What's this telling us? So this has been very much built in collaboration with the community.
And being co-created is really important, because, you know, we were living the problems, we were observing them and chatting to so many other people in those situations as well. And just making sure that, you know, we had that product market fit was really important for us. And then 2021 was when we did our first round of capital raising. So we had some private angels, family, friends and connections, and actually our first virtual raise as well in 2021. And altogether, I think we raised over $840,000 in that period of time. And that really was really exciting, because for us, it was like, great, now we can build the MVP, we can launch it to market, and we can start helping, you know, other singles who just don't know where to go out, and give them the support that they need to form those meaningful organic connections. So and then, yeah, I think, 2022 was last year, so that was launch year, and that was a massive year after building the MVP in 21 and launching it in March 2020. We've had just, an overwhelming response to the need of what we've built it, and people and singles really, you know, attracted to the proposition, and more want to meet people in real life.
Okay, so
and off the back of that, we've had a 27% month-on-month growth. Wow. We've driven $30,000 worth of revenue to businesses that we've partnered with, and we've actually got businesses knocking on our door now, saying, hey, let's partner, let's do an event. We've been running a whole lot of singles events throughout the year, and we've had, you know, close to 1,000 people attend those events, and you know, a good chunk walk away pretty happy. We don't know if those relationships have lasted, but I would hope so.
Yeah, there's definitely been people that have at our events who have met and left to go get dinner and been on second and third dates. And excitingly, we've actually had people create friendships. So I was at one of our more recent events last year, and I was chatting to a guy, and it was his second Ziinkle event that he'd been to, and he had such a great time. And he was telling me that he didn't have any other single friends, so he came by himself to the event. But he actually ended up meeting another guy who also doesn't have single friends. So now they're friends, and they go out together and come to our events. So it's really building and fostering that community where, you know, people are single, they want to meet in real life, they want to have those, you know, low pressure but still fun social environments to be around like-minded people, to form those organic connections, which you just can't do through, you know, 4 or 5 photos and a few lines of bio copy.
Yeah, that's one of the questions, and it's you know, it's come up a few times. How do you make friends? How do you meet people outside of a work environment? You know, in your 30s, or 40s or 50s, like that's so what you're doing is not just you know, romantic relationships, but you know, friendships, which is incredible. So 2022 is your launch year. When did you launch in 2022, and what's it now? What's the milestones? You said 27% month-on-month growth and $30,000 in revenue for the business that you're working with, which is a great case study, and it drives, you know, the B2B side. But where have you gone? And then you've got a equity crowdfunding live at the moment, so this is another opportunity for people to get in on, you know, an exciting growth company. So tell us about 2022.
Yeah, absolutely. So March 2022 is when we launched our MVP, and that was just in New South Wales. Being a new app, we just needed to keep some parameters on it just to bug fix and optimize. And then later that year in July, we opened it up nationally around Australia. And that's when we really started increasing the frequency of events that we were hosting. In Sydney, when we launched, we threw one launch party, and being new, we weren't really sure how many people were going to show up. We're really fortunate that there was a venue in Bondi who partnered with us and gave us some space in their venue. I think that space was going to fit about 120 people. On the night, we ended up having 250 people show up, and there were people waiting outside to kind of get in. So very quickly we learned that there is, you know, a really big need for people wanting to come to these events and wanting to meet in real life. So very quickly we learned to increase that frequency of our events calendar. I think last year we hosted 10 events in total. And as Elisse said, month on month, we've been seeing growth of around 27% in our user base. We've generated revenue from app subscriptions from those ticketed events, and for the businesses that we've partnered with. And we tend to find now that when we do host events and post about it across our socials and share that content, we have more venues and more business partners actually proactively approaching us, which is a really good position to be in, that we have so much inventory to work with, and people that you know, own bars, pubs, clubs and hospitality venues reaching out to us to look at those partnerships and really helping bring the Ziinkle brand to life and create those experiences for singles. And then excitingly, late last year, we also hired a product manager. So now we're taking a lot of that learning and optimization and that co-creation that we got insights and data on last year, and starting to implement that in our app this year to really uplift the experience. And I think that's just one of the things when you launch an MVP to market, you know, you've still got those validation points, and we knew that co-creation and that feedback loop was going to be really important. So apart from the research and focus groups, we also built feedback loop into the app as well. So users can give us that real-time feedback that we can then go and action to make sure that we're creating the best experience that we can for them.
Awesome. So you've touched on, you know, the different verticals on different industries that you're playing in. What does that look like? I know hospitality is struggling at the moment, and it has been struggling for the last few years. So you're targeting that, but what does that industry look like? And then the dating sector, with the current players in the market, what does that look like, and where do you think that's going in the future?
With the hospitality, one thing that we've noticed as well is it's also like peripheral businesses that sit around that. So like dates and experiences, and we actually partner with a B2B partner and provide our users the ability to browse and book dates within the Ziinkle app. So if you meet someone, instead of just, you know, let's grab a coffee and go for a walk, we've got some really cool date experiences, activities that you can do with that person as well. So I guess that's really just an extension of the impacts of COVID, that it hasn't just impacted the immediate hospitality, but there's a lot of peripheral businesses that sit around it. And that's really where our commercial focus is going to be this year. You know, there's going to be more events and venues and partnerships, but then you think about all of the other industries that plug into dating. You know, people get transport to get to dates, they get outfits to get to dates, they go on the dates themselves. So for us, there's a lot of opportunity in that B2B space that we really want to tap into and be able to help businesses build those communities and drive new customers and repeat customers, but also give our single users a really well-rounded experience as well.
What we want to do for businesses is essentially create an instant crowd. So if on a Wednesday, you know that your lunch is packed, but you know there's no one really coming in for dinner, after work drinks, whatever it is, essentially you can hit a button on Ziinkle, and that will drive an instant crowd. And that's the vision that we want to get to. And then as our users come in, they're obviously rewarded because they're our users and they're coming in, and then the businesses can learn and see what kind of crowds come in, the demographics and things like that. And that's all data that currently they can't get, because the only data they get is off their POS systems. So yeah, that's where we see the vision for hospitality, and then extending it into, you know, retail and everybody else. If you think about you know, a single person, there's no industry they don't really touch. You know, they've still got to look after their finances. They still want to buy a property. They're looking at their future. There are so many opportunities for so many different businesses.
Yeah. And then when we look at the dating industry itself, so Tinder's been around for 11 years now, Bumble and Hinge, 9 years, sorry. And really over that time, there hasn't been a lot of innovation. Those apps were really born out of the frustration, you know, 10, 11 years ago, where people were going to the same venues and coming across the same people and didn't know how to broaden their social circles. And the problem that those apps were solving were very much just, you know, kind of immediately opening up that pool, but it wasn't really around focused on people in real life. It's all been digital profiles and digital features that keep people in those apps and keep them, you know, I guess kind of engaged in that engagement loop. And over that, 11 years, there just hasn't been a lot of change. Like they've added in voice chat or video chat, and those are great things that help reduce those barriers, but it still doesn't give you that same level of connection and chemistry when you see people out and about. And particularly some of the insights we have uncovered in our research as well is during COVID, people have felt like they've lost a few years of their life. So they might have gone into COVID thinking, yeah, I'm just living life, whatever it might be, but they've come out on the other side really realizing that, wow, like I do want X, Y, Z. These are my life goals and things I really need to achieve. And so to really just push forward, I think there's need for people to get out and connect again in real life. And when I look forward in terms of the dating industry, the updates that we, you know, see coming out from the main dating apps are still very digital focused. And we're yet to really see a way that they're harnessing, not just getting singles out, but what we're doing and tapping into that business side, because those singles are looking for places to go, and those places to go are looking for people to come in. So
yeah,
from a business side, within the dating industry, it's really a case of Match Group versus Bumble globally. So both apps acquire boutique brands around the world to dominate certain markets. Obviously, they know that their apps make billions of dollars. So there's no need to really drastically change them. But by acquiring smaller boutique brands who are doing things a little bit differently, they're expanding their market. And we know that people pay on average for 2 to 3 dating apps each. So if you're paying for a Tinder and a Hinge, Match Group is still getting both those revenues from you, and you don't know that. So that is their global strategy. They're doing it in every single market. Bumble is really ramping it up to match Tinder, and there have been Australian dating apps that have been acquired and are being looked at. So we very much can see, you know, what can happen in the future.
Yeah. And that's exciting that you mentioned that. So in most other industries, companies are trying to fight for the consumer. And there is loyalty. For example, if you shop at Woolworths, you're not going to go to Coles, or 9 times out of 10 you're gonna shop at Woolworths. So there's that brand loyalty. In dating apps, there isn't that brand loyalty. You'll be on 2 or 3 of them, and you'll be paying for them. So in terms of a market, there is the dollars are being spent, and there's not that fight for, you know, who owns the customer. So it is an industry that is the market size could potentially be much, much larger, because it's not just dependent on the one consumer spending that dollar. So tell us about the raise. You've opened up an equity crowd fund on Virtual. How much you're looking to raise? What's it going towards? What's the momentum? And, you know, tell us more details. We're interested to know.
We're looking for up to $1 million in crowdfunding equity. We are open to deals outside of that through Safe Notes as well, for a total of 2.2 million. What that will get us will be the complete optimization of the current singles component of the dating app, but also allow us to build in our B2B strategy. So that B2B platform, hire the team that we need to drive that sales strategy for B2B specifically, which opens up a new revenue stream for us. So it's not just consumers looking at, there are, you know, hundreds of thousands of businesses that we can target in Australia alone here. So there's that component, but there's also the acquisition strategy as well, the user retention. So whilst 30% of the funds will go towards the app development, we want 40% of funds to go into user acquisition, which will really drive the amount of people we've got on there, which in turn will then drive revenue. Our aim is to get within the next 5 years this is customers and businesses combined, about 1 million customers, which will take us to $40 million in revenue per year. And then the last thing as well is just expanding into different markets. So whilst Australia is our primary market and we want to get that right first, we have trademarked in the US, Canada and the UK. So we've got our eyes on those. And once we have the revenue to move over there and do it correctly, we will move over and expand our markets. All 3 of those markets are much bigger than Australia. So there is a lot of opportunity there.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So you're raising the $1 million versus the equity crowd fund, and then you have another 1.2 allocated for direct investment. What sort of investors are you looking for? What's your ideal investor?
Our ideal investor is somebody that understands this space, and it is hard to come by. There are a lot of investors who obviously specialize in the B2B space, and we now have that offering. But not a lot of investors understand dating as much. So if there's somebody that does understand it, send them our way. But we do want somebody who can also add value. So not just, hand over cash, but work with us, help us grow, help us fill gaps, use their network as well with us.
So it's more,
and that experience can be, building and scaling digital 2-sided marketplaces as well, like agnostic to dating, but being able to have that, I guess, experience in growing and scaling a digital business is really where we're looking for that support, as well as investors who have inventory in bars, pubs, clubs, hotels, who might have drink sponsors or any of those peripheral businesses that sit around the dating ecosystem. So similarly, before I noted that we've got a partner that we work with who offers experiences. So those are the types of investors that we're looking for, who also have that inventory that would be appealing to our user base, but equally our customers that their businesses are also looking for as well.
Okay, awesome. So we'll leave it at that. It's been a great conversation. I'm excited about the space. I think the dating app space is one where, as you said, acquisitions are quite common. The larger players in the space acquire smaller boutique businesses. So it is attractive for investors to look at, but it's also one that has a larger market. As we're a growing population, a lot more people are transitioning to dating apps, and they're looking for what's next. So I'm excited to see where it goes. Anybody who's interested in Ziinkle, we'll have their equity crowdfunding offering link below, as well as we can connect you directly to the team. But thank you very much, guys, for jumping on. It's been great to chat, and I'm looking forward to see what's next.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Dan. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.